Hello and welcome to the Black Friday November 2014 edition of Picking Up the Crap, my series that looks at the hardware and software sale numbers for the North American video game market. Here are the top 10 best-selling games for November 2014. Number 1, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Number 2, Grand Theft Auto 5. Number 3, Super Smash Bros. Number 4, Madden NFL 15. Number 5, Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. Number 6, Far Cry 4. Number 7, Pokemon Omega Ruby. Number 8, NBA 2K15. Number 9, Assassin's Creed Unity. And number 10, Halo the Master Chief Collection. Here are your estimated hardware sale numbers for November 2014, aka Black Friday. As I said in previous videos, these numbers are pretty much guesstimates given to us by people who have NPD access. In some cases, the developers and console makers do release official numbers through press releases, and when they do that, I shall give you those numbers and state that overall, the numbers given here today are estimates from NPD leakers. The number one selling home console for November 2014 was the Xbox One, selling somewhere around 1,230,000 systems. At number 2, the PlayStation 4, selling around 833,000 systems. At number 3, the number one selling handheld, the Nintendo 3DS, selling around 515,000 systems. At number 4, selling around 300,000 systems, the Xbox 360. At number 5, the Nintendo Wii U, selling around 240,000 systems. At number 6, the PlayStation 3, selling around 88,000 systems. At number 7, the PlayStation Vita, selling around 32,000 systems. And last but not least, the Nintendo Wii, selling around 24,000 systems. It is now time for the going public segment of this video, where usually I go into further detail on the numbers I have, the estimates I've gathered, or just overall information I've seen. When it comes to software overall, the industry was down 2% compared to last year. At the same time, that is kind of some very serious news because there are more heavy hitters this year compared to last year. According to certain sources, we do know that this year's version of Assassin's Creed compared to last year's version is down. We do know that the Madden game is down, and definitely the sales of Call of Duty Advanced Warfare are down from the previous game that came out last year. Still, overall, it's hard to tell how much they're down since we don't have official press release numbers of what they sold during November, during Black Friday. So what I've been trying to do is kind of determine one thing. What is the overall selling? What is the most the first number one game could have sold? Since we do have numbers for games that are lower in the ranking. Coming in at number 3, thanks to Nintendo's press release, we do know that Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U officially sold around 710,000 copies during the month of November, during this 2 weeks of release during the NPD tracking period. This game came in number 3, so we now know that every game below Smash in the NPD top 10 sold under 710,000 copies. That means Madden, Far Cry 4, NBA 2K15, Assassin's Creed, and Halo, also under 710,000 copies. Another interesting fact is the North American NPD decided to separate the sales of both Pokemon games, even though they are the same game, just with a different title. Total, according to Nintendo, both Pokemon games total combined to sell 1.5 million copies in November. That also includes digital sales, but still 1.5 million in November. If they combine the sales of both those games, then 1.5 would be pretty high, definitely above number 3. But is that above number 1? Is that above number 2? Or is that overall, the best-selling game and everything's below that? We won't know because they decided to separate the sales of the games by their name instead of just putting them together under the Pokemon brand. Still, there are some things that we do know. There was a PlayStation 4 Grand Theft Auto 5 bundle. So if you bought a PS4, you probably got that Grand Theft Auto 5 with that game. So that kills some of the sales of the game if you bought a single copy. Also, this is a up version from the version that came out last year on PS3, Xbox 360. So how many people actually upgraded? Will you think more than me and gamers combined on PS4 and Xbox One went out and bought Grand Theft Auto 5 again? It's hard to tell. Still, we do know that the number one game, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, dropped 25% from last year's Call of Duty Ghost, which had also dropped from the game before that, Black Ops 2. In segment 2 of Going Public, let's look at how Microsoft was able to beat Sony in the NPD best-selling console race for the month of November. This is the first time this generation that Sony basically has lost a month. They've been on a 13-month streak since the release of the PS4. This is the first time that Sony has lost, and Microsoft, the Xbox One, has been able to win a month, especially in the US market, which Microsoft owned. If you just compare the Xbox 360 to the PS3, it owned last generation. This generation has been a little harder for the US market, especially for the Xbox One. Gamers have been buying the PS4 left and right. It's been the best-selling console so far this whole generation, and people are kind of worried that Microsoft was going to lose the one advantage, the one territory they actually have, where they actually sell pretty well, the US North American market. So what did it? Was it release of brand new games? Was it a mixture of nice bundles, nice deals? Well, actually, it was a price cut. During the holiday season, Microsoft cut the price of the Xbox One by $50. Also, they were giving you basically 2 free games with the purchase of the console. So, $50 cheaper than the PS4, and then 2 free games. And pretty much what it seems, that people who wanted Xbox Ones but didn't want to pay the price for it, or maybe felt they didn't want to get Xbox One because the PS4 is actually a superior console when it comes technically, but they figured if I can get it cheaper, I'll go ahead and buy it, the Xbox One. That's what they did. People went out in droves and bought the Xbox One. And according to the NPD's estimates, the Xbox One outsold the PS4 in November by 400,000 systems. Actually, the Xbox One outsold the PlayStation 4 and the Wii U combined. So far this generation, when it comes to the PS4 and the Xbox One, gamers really just want maybe the cheapest system. Even though they say they care about certain things like games and stuff, it basically, exclusive games are not keeping people on one side or the other when it comes to what console they plan to buy. The cheaper console will get bought. The PS4 was cheaper than the Xbox One when it released, and people have been buying it. Now the Xbox One is cheaper, and they're buying that instead. You can look at this and see this is the main reason people bought the console, because there was no great sales of any exclusive content for those systems. Halo Master Chief Collection came in at number 10. So basically, it was way under 700,000 copies on during the month of November, and that's basically like a 4-game remastering of the great Halo games, a franchise that's been a mainstay and was been keeping the Xbox 360, and the Xbox brand, relevant in North America. Then you look at other games like Sunset Overdrive that released a month before. It didn't have a increase. It didn't have any significant increase during the month of November and didn't reach in the top 10. So people just are not feeling the games. They just really want the current console that has all the games, a mixture of first party but mostly third party, your Assassin's Creed, your Maddens, your basketball, your wrestling games, those type of games, and then whatever's cheaper. In 2015, I think we'll get a better idea if gamers actually want certain consoles for the content they have. Because next year, on both consoles, the PS4 and the Xbox One, there are a lot more exclusive made games built from the ground up on those consoles. And we'll see if that will be the deciding factor between the two consoles, especially if their prices are similar. Next year, supposedly, Halo 5 is going to drop on the Xbox One, I believe, and then of course on PS4 you have the new Uncharted, A Thief's End, releasing. Finally, in this last segment of Going Public, I want to talk about just little tidbits of information I've gathered and things that are on my mind. First and foremost, as we know, the Nintendo Wii U, for its third holiday season, has sold around 242,000 systems. On Black Friday. That's a very low number for a Black Friday console sales. Historically very low. At this point, there's no need to even worry about console sales when it comes to the Wii U being the console leader, being the market share leader. You know, overall, it's just that it's not going to happen. People are not going to buy the console. There's going to be a small number of people who finally adapt to it when certain games come out, certain games they've been waiting for, aka new Zelda, aka new Star Fox, things of that nature. But overall, it's not going to ever become a mass market hit. I don't even think a price cut would really help the Wii U at this current state, because this year you've had a great supply of exclusive Game of the Year quality games released. Yet with each new release, you see a small sales increase, and then a real quick sales decline. And this is Black Friday during the holiday season, when people out there buying consoles for their loved ones, for their family members, for their friends, whoever. And you had the release of the new Super Smash Brothers for the Wii U. A great game, a mass market game that has sold 10 million copies when its previous release on Brawl for the Wii. If anybody's going to buy a new Wii U, it would be for that game. Also, you had Mario Kart 8 that released earlier this year. Those are two games. Those are Nintendo's two major mass market games that would get people who usually don't like Mario games or Zelda games to go out and buy a Wii U. And they had no effect. And so, despite a great lineup coming out next year, there's no game coming out next year that has the mass market appeal as Mario Kart 8 and Super Smash Brothers. And because of that, the Wii U would never win a month in the NPD race in the North American market. And also, don't expect it to have any great numbers. You're looking at something sub GameCube, Sega Saturn, maybe Dreamcast level overall in the North American market alone. So what is Nintendo going to do to combat this lack of hardware sales? They're going to continue to sell software. As you know, Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U has sold 710,000 copies at launch. That's 2 weeks of NPD, but already 500,000 sold in those 2 weeks. Also, Super Smash Bros. For the 3DS, that's been on the market for now almost 3 months, has passed 1.5 million in North America alone. And so Nintendo is going to definitely be pushing their software, trying to make the money off of that to cover the losses on the hardware. You also have the Amiibos that came out the same day as Smash Brothers, and according to Nintendo, they sold pretty much the same amount of Amiibos that they sold Smash Brothers Wii U, almost 710,000 single figurines. And so basically, every person who bought Smash Wii U bought an amiibo, and they're selling well. They're selling out. There's a hunt for these rare figures that are hard to find, and a new way just released recently. And so Nintendo is definitely going to be pushing their software, and then these side projects like amiibos and everything, and probably DLC. You have a Mario Kart 8 and Hyrule Warriors to get people to make extra purchases to single games to make more revenue to cover losses they're not going to make in selling hardware. I would have really liked to see if Nintendo had released a Super Smash Brothers bundle for the Wii U to see would that be something that would help the Wii U sell more than it did during Black Friday, but they didn't. And so it's just one of those things where you're trying to figure out what can they do to push this console, or do they even really care? You also have the new 3DS that released in Japan that's selling real well, and also selling in Australia. Nintendo's right now been tight-lipped on releasing that in North American market, but the 3DS only sold 515,000 copies during November. That's down from 700,000 the year before. The 3DS also, this year alone, every year it has sold less than what the PSP was selling in North America. So that's telling you something. The PSP was far behind the second place console in the whole PSP DS war, and now the 3DS can't even match those numbers. So Nintendo is having a hard time when it comes to their hardware on both fronts, home console and their portable areas. But their software is still keen and is still selling moderately well, but nowhere to the same levels as they did during the Wii era. Alright, everybody. This is it for Black Friday edition of Quick Pick of the Crap. I'll see you guys soon in another video. Until then, take care.